All right, let's get right into it. Oh God, don't forget to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. And if you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, go ahead and super chat it in. Or if you just want to support the show, send a gift. All right, let's get back to it.
Well, CENTCOM launching what it calls a heavy wave of strikes against payback for attempted surprise missile attacks on U.S. forces. All Iranian missiles intercepted. CENTCOM says it struck military targets, including command centers, missile and drone facilities, and surveillance sites. Let's bring in Fox News senior strategic analyst, retired four-star General Jack Keane, former vice chair of staff of the Army, now chairman of the Institute for the Study of War. General, it's always a pleasure to have you on. I want to read this Wall Street Journal quote, and then I can give you the floor. I think this is interesting. It says, quoting here, if the U.S. wants military action to be effective, CENTCOM Commander Brad Cooper has maintained the U.S. must step up its air attacks, significantly blunting Iran's missile threat to try to break the stalemate. This go big approach, which is among a series of options he has developed, would reduce the need for U.S. to use defensive munitions because Iran would have less capability to attack.
Okay, so the logic is the best offense is your best defense, aka just hit them and can continuously hit them to the point where they can't hit us. So yeah, the logic of, yeah, I guess your offense is your best defense according to these guys over here. But here's the problem, though. That's the problem. These strikes or these continuous strikes aren't going to hit those underground bases. It's not going to hit those underground missile launchers. It's not. So doing all these continuous strikes is not going to stop Iran from being able to strike. That's just the sad reality of it. And if we keep doing these continuous strikes and hanging around their airspace for too long, something's bound to happen.
Is that your assessment as well, General?
Yeah, well, that's actually an incomplete assessment from Admiral Cooper, but I understand. Here's what I think we are, Trace. Look, we went to a ceasefire on April the 7th, began negotiations on April the 8th because the Iranians were making overtures to us that they were willing to negotiate over the Straits of Hormuz. We had conducted 38 days of epic fury and roaring lion, a combined operation with the two most proven militaries in the world today, focusing on Iran. And we stopped after those 38 days with most people think about 14 days to complete all of the assigned military objectives. So we went into this negotiation phase, and we're in it now. We've been in it for almost 4 months. And we don't have the Straits of Hormuz open, although we thought we had an agreement, right? Just a few weeks.
I mean, here's the thing. The Strait of Hormuz is a new problem. It's like pretty... When we walked in trying to solve their nuclear problem and try to get a regime change, even though they're trying to walk that back since it didn't work. But let's be real, though. Since we started this war and we spent billions of dollars and taken substantial damage across the board on our bases, I mean, we have no regime change. Their missiles and drones are still capable. They're still got them. They're still able to fire them. And of course, the Strait of Hormuz is still in their control. Oh, yeah. And now all of their proxies are also getting engaged, too, like the Houthis closing the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, basically cutting off Saudi Arabia out of the Red Sea or getting out of the Red Sea. So now they got to take the Suez Canal for a more expensive route. But they might not even have that because somebody done effed around and struck Egypt. And it wasn't Iran for some reason, or it was Iran, but Egypt wants to deny that it's Iran, so they don't want to, because they don't want to get dragged into it, which is understandable.
Weeks ago, our president signed it, their president signed it, and within days of that, Iran violated it. And they've continued to violate a tentative ceasefire agreement as well, and we've been retaliating, and each time they do it, we strike back a little harder on that. The second thing we really want to achieve through this diplomatic phase is certainly some kind of agreement over their nuclear enterprise. And when you look back on it, do you think we're close to getting a deal on the Straits of Hormuz, number one? Are we getting close to a deal on a nuclear enterprise? I don't think so. I think the evidence is pretty clear. So what it remains here, and I think the Trump administration and likely the president is already reassessing the diplomatic strategy we're on. And do we still have a realistic option to accomplish our assigned objectives if we can't do it through diplomacy? I think we absolutely do. and what that is returning to major combat operations, combined operation, certainly with CENTCOM and with the Israelis. They're both ready and prepared to do that. And what would that look like? Well, it would be actually bigger and more comprehensive than what Epic Fury has, because we have more targets through intelligence to take care of, and we also are at full magazine depth to deal with those targets. So it would be an all-out attack on their...
Yes, it would be an all-out attack on Iran, as Iran carries out an all-out attack on our Gulf allies. Like, yes, like pretty much the energy infrastructure will be destroyed, water desalination plants will be destroyed. I mean, they're destroying some of the data centers out there in the region. I mean, do we really want to go through that? But apparently this guy, General Keane, he's okay with it. And I mean, look, that's the problem, though. You got to be okay with the damage that you're going to take if you want to commit to this. So if we actually do that, I hope he doesn't come on here talking about, well, oh, I'm so surprised that Iran just went out there and started attacking everybody's infrastructure. It's like, bro, that's what they've been doing every time we attack their infrastructure. What do you think they're going to do? And like I said, I mean, what was it? That article that the admiral wrote, or quoting the admiral, apparently they're trying to hit them so hard to where their offense is their best defense, because they're recognizing that they're running low on their Patriot interceptor missiles. So now they're just saying, I mean, F it. I guess we just got to attack them so much that we don't got to use them, which is kind of wild. It's like saying, I'm going to throw so many punches, I don't even really got to put up my hands to defend myself, which is a bit crazy, but maybe it could work.
Weapon systems, drones, missiles, whatever's left of their nuclear enterprise, IRGC, their units, and also their leaders. We would go after very heavily.
Hey, shout out AJ for sending the press F for 10 joules. Appreciate the support, sis.
Their energy and economic targets, oil and gas infrastructure, as an example. Isolate the country, roads and rails leading to border countries, seaports and airports as well. And it's sort of military.
No, that is crazy. I mean, at least he's honest. He said, no, isolate the country. I mean, bro, isolate. Whoa. Whoa. Everything good? Hold on. Everything good on my side? Because it looked like, did my camera go out or something? All right, good. All right, my bad, guys. There's something, I guess the connection went out for a little bit there. I'm going to go back a little bit, though, so we hear the bullshit he just said.
Prize IRGC, their units, and also their leaders. We would go after very heavily their energy and economic targets, oil and gas infrastructure, as an example. Isolate the country, roads and rails leading to border countries, seaports and airports as well.
Damn. Bro, that is a wild ass statement just to say out loud, bro. He just said, you know, I mean, F it, just start committing war crime. Just isolate the entire effing country and the people. I'm like, hold on. Why we gotta isolate the people inside the country? Like, what are you trying to do here? This seems a little, I don't know, a little Holocausty. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, you're trying to trap the citizens inside of Iran while we're about to carry out a full-on like bombardment. That's a little fucked up. I mean, and you're also saying, so we should bomb the bridges, all the railroads leading out and inside of Iran, thus affecting the people as well. But don't worry, they'll be okay. They'll be dead soon because we're going to completely bombard the country, right? Yeah, I don't know about that. I trust me. I get the strategy. Like, of course, knock out their routes in and outside the country so they can't get no delivery from Russia and China. And trust me, yeah, I get the military strategy, but the people.
And it's sort of militarily quarantine the country, and then we would open the Straits of Hormuz and make certain it stays open, and finally conduct covert operations. After this operation, I think, and what I'm describing to you, there's only a piece of it. Can't get into all the details here, but it would be so comprehensive that it would likely put the regime on a path to its eventual collapse.
So we're going to bomb every bridge and every railroad going out the country. Okay. I mean, they can still go through air, but it is what it is. Okay, so when we do that, we choke off the country. How does that stop them from still firing off their missiles and drones even though we didn't so-called choked off the country. And I mean, if we choke off the country, don't you think they're gonna really escalate things to start really taking out, critical things in the region, water salination centers, energy plants, oil refineries? Don't you think they're just gonna start destroying all of that in our attempt to do that? Like, come on. I think they're just gonna, and that's the thing though. They say this as if Iran is just gonna take this lane down. It's kind of insane. It's like, y'all speaking of this plan as if Iran's not, it's just gonna sit there and take it. And I wish that would be the reality, but like, come on now. Y'all thought Iran was gonna sit there and take it while we bombed them. You thought they weren't gonna close the strait, but look where we are. So now you're gonna sit there and think that we can bomb Iran into isolation, and they're just gonna sit there and take it. Okay. I mean, good luck with that.
But one of the things we should also do after the operation is over and when straits are open is continue to press covert operations in there to undermine the regime and assist the people. I think that remains a realistic option to accomplish this.
By bombing the bridges and railroads that they would need to leave Iran. That's how you're helping them. I mean, he said it, not me. He's like, he said it in the same breath too. I guess in the same segment, he said, you know what? I want to bomb all the bridges and railroads to isolate them in to help the Iranian people to stand up against the regime. And it's just like, so you're going to lock them in with the killer regime? I mean, that's wild. And then also, what if they want to leave while you're, bombarding and trying to make their country completely unlivable? I mean, they can't leave. So what, they're just going to sit there and suffer and die? Like, did you really think about this, like, in a humanitarian sense? I know in a military sense, he thought about it for sure. But what about in a humanitarian sense? Like, we're not barbarians here.
Assigned goals the president had at the very beginning. Remember? Strategic goals, no nuclear weapon, take Iran off the board as a predator in the region that it has been for 47 years. I don't think we're going to get there diplomatically. It's not because I favor the military operation. I'm just looking at the facts. It's almost 4 months. The straits aren't open, and we're not any closer to a nuclear deal. Let's get this over with. And we're going to have a spike in prices for sure. It'll be temporary. It'll eventually go down. And I think that would be somewhat beneficial for those who are concerned about
I'm about to be like, all right, bro. So once again, you're hitting us with the short-term pain for long-term gain. And I mean, that ain't been working out lately. So you're now going to try to hit us with the same logic again, or I guess the same phrase. All right, I would have to really push them on that. I mean, so how long do you expect this to last? Because you're telling Americans that, all right, you're going to have to deal with skyrocketing energy prices, gas prices, food prices, because the fertilizer also gets through there as well. Yeah, you're going to have to deal with all that. I'm like, okay, great. For how long, though? Because if this keeps dragging on, you just be like, don't worry, Americans, hold out a little longer. I know wages ain't go up not too much, but them prices sure did. But don't worry, hold on. We're making sure that Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. That we have no proof that it was ever going towards or a weapons program or anything, but trust me, bro, we got you on this.
Political concerns, and they're realistic. I understand that, dealing with midterm elections and some of the economic strain, but that would be temporary.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, just to clarify, General Keane, are you talking, when you say covert operations and you bring back Israel into the mix, how would that benefit the United States? Are you talking about Mossad? Are you talking about using Israel for covert operations along with the kinetic stuff?
Yeah, certainly. Well, I'm making the assumption, Trace, that the CIA and the Mossad work together right now to put as much pressure on the regime covertly, and also working with leadership groups of Iranians inside the country, and certainly get considerably more aggressive with a lot more leverage when you're putting maximum pressure on the regime. I'm
gonna tell you what they really do. They really get like the outcasts of the country, like the refugees that don't get no benefits from the state. Yeah, they're kind of just left out there in the outskirts of Iran to survive for themselves. And these are very vulnerable people to, the Mossad and the CIA, because all you got to do is walk up to them, offer a little bit of money, and then also, talk them up a little bit. It's like, hey, yo, man, they did you dirty. It's like, yo, country got destroyed. You coming over here. They don't even want to give you no benefits, no real work opportunity. You out here just trying to survive out in the desert. But look, man, I'm here from the Mossad, and I got about a good 20K in American cash for you. And all you got to do is take this gun and go ahead and try to overthrow the government that's low-key doing you dirty. I mean, it's a pretty good pitch. I'm not going to lie.
comprehensive as what I just described. Every single day, 24/7, not just a 2-hour attack that we saw last night, but this is daylight attacks, night attacks, and they're going on for a couple of weeks. A lot more pressure covertly can be applied to help break this regime apart. Can't get into the details of all of that, but just use our imagination. You can think through what our capabilities are, and we have done this in other places ourselves in other countries, and certainly the Mossad has had huge impact inside the regime through the years.
Yeah, General,
That's true.
great to have you on. Great insight as always. We appreciate
that protest that Iran killed like 3,000 to 7,000 protesters in. That was set off by the Mossad and the CIA. Yep, like I said, we came in there, we gave the agitators guns, and they start firing off at the police. So then, yeah, that's pretty much how that popped off. I know it wasn't this whole, oh no, they was all mad about the government. No, we just put guns in the right people's hands and they caused the problem.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Be sure to like and
all right, guys, let's go ahead and get over to the next video here. I think let's go ahead and get into Egypt. Iran war widens as Egypt and Saudi Arabia get pulled in because Saudi Arabia did join us in a joint strike against an Iran-backed Iraqi militia group, and when we hit them, we took out about 20 of them, guys. And here's a problem: they're not just going to take that sitting down, so now they might just be all in. So congrats, guys. Now Iraq has joined the fight. I mean, bro, it is a regional war. I mean, guys, Israel's going at it with Lebanon. I mean, and then you got Iran in the USA. I mean, you got Russia and China helping out Iran. Then you got Iran pretty much giving orders to Yemen. And then they're going to start giving orders to Iraq to engage their attacks now. Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and getting into it too. It's like, God damn, damn near the entire Middle East is involved. But all right, let's get to the next video. Oh, yeah. And any question, comments, jokes, or disagreements, guys, please super chat it in. Or go ahead and send a gift to support the show, guys. All right, let's get right into it here.
The last 24 hours have seen the war widen, this time to Egypt, where a drone hit the port of Damietta, setting 2 ships there on fire. It's the first time that country has been targeted in the war. No one has claimed responsibility, and today Iran's foreign ministry urged vigilance against what it called false flag operations designed to undermine regional peace. The foreign minister also warned Cyprus and Bulgaria against allowing the U.S. to use their bases to launch attacks on Iran. In another sign of expanding hostilities, Saudi Arabia...
It's actually crazy, though, because Iran, they said they were about to attack, Ukraine, but Ukraine pretty much rushed an apology, which was kind of pathetic, because it's just like, so hold on. You pretty much attack an Iranian vessel in the Caspian Sea and somebody dies, and now you're just gonna what? You're just gonna run with your tail between your legs and be like, "Oh, Iran, I'm sorry. Please don't attack me. Oh, please." It's like, what was the point of you even committing to this? I thought you was all in, Zelensky, with your dumb ass. You shouldn't have did it in the first place, but at least if you were gonna do it, you should have followed through. But like I said, he really did it to just look good for Bibi and Trump.
For the first time in this war, joined the U.S. in a strike against Iranian-backed militias inside Iraq.
How big is this getting?
Bigger and bigger, and it's moving almost inexorably toward the west. Think a Western front. We talked about that in World War II. Here it is, the Red Sea, the Suez Canal, owned and operated by Egypt, strikes on Jordan. And the Iranians are also threatening NATO partners, saying, whatever you do, NATO partners, don't allow your bases to be used for strikes against us.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a kind of inexorable movement to
now. What they're pretty much saying is like, yeah, if you guys use any of these U.S. bases to attack us, you're greenlit, and we will attack you. You got the airships launching from your base, you're greenlit. And guess what? It's gotten to the point where there are countries pretty much threatening the U.S. like, look, if you keep this up, we just won't let you use our air bases or your military bases in our land no more. And that's just going to have to be that, because that's the only way we're going to be able to save our country from completely being decimated by Iran. Because sadly, they cannot stop Iran's missiles and drones from hitting their infrastructure. I mean, like I said, bro, we can't protect their infrastructure and our bases at the same time. It's really going to drain us out. And I think we can all understand that.
the west here, Brianna, and it's very worrisome. Here's the play. The Iranians are pulling in as many of the Arab states as they can, hoping that they, the Arab states, will turn around, put pressure on the U.S. to pull out. I think it's going to backfire on them. And I'll close with this. I am seeing pretty credible reporting that the Saudis are trying to put together a coalition of Arab states in order to push back on this Red Sea challenge they're facing. So I don't think this is going to work for Iran, but that's the game they're playing.
And you also are looking at Iran reiterating the Strait of Hormuz is going to remain closed. You have 14 mostly regional countries backing that maritime defense alliance that's supposed to protect the shipping routes, the global trade. What is the future of global shipping through all of these?
No, it's so funny though. I did hear about that, and I was hearing a lot of people read out the list, and I'm just like, bro, there's really nobody of any real importance in this whole naval alliance to open back up the the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. There is like, I'm not really sure how they're gonna get it done, guys, but I mean, maybe they can do it. Hopefully, Iran don't start sending them those kamikaze speedboats and those little drone submarines. It's like, I mean, that's the last thing we need out there in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait or in the Red Sea. But let's see how this works out for them.
Regional waterways look like in your view?
You've put your finger on why all this matters beyond the...
Hey, man, shout out to my man Galactic. He said 1.5 per year set. He's like, that's what the Pentagon wants now. Imagine how much that money could be spent solving problems in America. Oh, bro, trust me, it hurts my heart every single time. Like, a lot of people don't understand that the military spending that we do is atrocious, and all the stuff we could have got done with it for less. Oh, I'm telling you, bro, we could have had like high-speed railways at this point. Like, I could have got from Ohio to California in 4 fucking hours if we just wasn't overspending on military. Maybe hopefully that'll be one of the projects we start. And then here's the also sad reality of it as well. They want more money for a war they can show us no results in, and that's just killing me, because it's like, guys, we invested in this military. You went out there and did some bullshit in Iran. You didn't complete none of the goals in Iran, and now you're coming back asking us for more money that for a war that you have set. Well, honestly, you have not satisfied any goals in, but you want more money from us. It's like, yeah, maybe you guys should kind of draw this back a little bit. I'm like, look, you spent about $120 billion on Tomahawk missiles, and it's not doing you no good. So, I mean, what can we honestly do for you? Like, give you more money to waste in this war that doesn't look like we're going to win? I don't know. Guys. That's a lot of trust, man, to put in the military that ain't giving us too much results right now. And trust me, I love our soldiers, but I'm not really trusting the leadership right now.
Pretty obvious day-to-day impact on the global economy of shutting down a major strait. Why it really matters is, broadly speaking, are we going to preserve freedom of the high seas? Are we?
Oh yeah, shout out to my man Galactic. Let me go ahead and give you your celebration. Yeah, but shout out to my man Galactic, because I ain't gonna lie, you definitely cooked with that one. And it's a very irritating fact that, a lot of Americans kind of just play off, but let's be real, that is a crazy problem here. We do overspend on military when we could be spending it on, I don't know, education, infrastructure, I don't know, new tech to better our energy infrastructure. I'm just saying there's better things we could be doing besides crashing out on Iran. I mean, just think about it. Just think about it.
Going to preserve transit rights through straits around the world? Are we going to protect our Suez Canal, Panama Canal, and other areas of the oceans that are so crucial to trade? So I think, again, you're going to see Iran's efforts here backfire. It'll lead to the coalition that you and I just talked about of Arab states. But what I'm hoping for, Brianna, is the Europeans who, after the United States and perhaps China.
Bro, if you're really about to tell me there's about to be a regional naval war in the Red Sea, that is crazy. But I mean, I can see it. I can see it. Those countries do need it open. And if the Saudis and not the Saudis, but if the Houthis were to do a complete blockade, then we're really going to have a problem. Because right now they're just making sure the Saudi ships don't go through. But let's be real, that also affects the other countries as well. I don't even know why Egypt. And here's the thing, Egypt, I think somebody tried to false flag them into this because they make money off all these boats using the Suez Canal. So I could see Egypt going like, I don't care, man. Tell the Houthis to keep it up. We making money this way. But one of their ships got struck. So, things are a bit sus right now. People were trying to blame Iran, but even Egypt came out and said, no, it wasn't Iran, and you're not going to drag us into it. But we're not going to tell you who it is. So they're being pretty hush-hush about it right now.
China had the third most powerful combination of warships. Will the Europeans come into this alongside the U.S. to reopen this strait? I'm hoping that is what happens. And that would be, in that case, a real strategic mistake by the Iranians to broaden this conflict.
And speaking of Europe, Iran's foreign minister actually warned two European countries, Cyprus and Bulgaria, against allowing the U.S. military to use their bases. How much ability does Iran have to back up those kind of warnings?
Bruh.
Limited, but not completely benign, meaning if you look at the ranges of their maximalist ballistic missiles, in theory, they could reach all the way to Eastern Europe, Bulgaria, or into the Eastern Mediterranean, where the nation of Cyprus, not a NATO member, by the way, but a European Union member, sits. So again, Iran is pushing at the Arab world to the west. Now we're seeing them push toward the European world even further. Ultimately, I think this will backfire on the mullahs in Tehran. I hope it does.
Today, China's foreign minister dismissed reports from Reuters that Beijing is sending 300 to 400 shoulder-fired air defense missile launchers to Iran. That's according to the country's state-run news agency. U.S. intel had indicated that China was preparing to deliver new air defense systems to Iran. So I think that there was this.
It's kind of crazy that nobody expected that. Well, honestly, it's crazy that the administration, because I feel like everybody in the chat expected China and Russia to low-key get involved and low-key use Iran as a proxy against the U.S. Why? Because, we're kind of doing the same thing with Ukraine to Russia, and China, we're kind of keeping them away from, unification with Taiwan that they've been pushing for oh so long. So why wouldn't they push this war that's constantly weakening us and embarrassing us on the world stage? Why wouldn't they do so? And why wouldn't they sit there, take notes of all of the bombs that we're dropping, of how our aircrafts are moving, and then go ahead and upgrade their technology and send it to Iran and see how that works out? Why wouldn't they do that as our biggest adversary? Come on now.
Expectation of that. That's what CNN's reporting has been. What
kills me the most too is we literally left ourselves vulnerable to our biggest adversaries in the world, which is China and Russia, the closest superpowers to us, or the closest country to us in power. We literally put ourselves at risk for a war with Iran that's gaining us nothing, and it was really all for Israeli interest, so we can destabilize Iran, so Israel can pretty much take over the region, create greater Israel. And I'm not going to go into the whole damn prophecy or the eschatology of it for now, but you kind of see my point here is that this is not within our interest, and it's only taken away from our greater interest, or taken away from our adversaries that we should be focusing on a little bit more. Here's the thing. We don't got to get into a war to actually focus on our adversaries, because China's kind of trying to kick our ass technological wise and economically. If we just focus on the right things, we can handle that without a war. Russia, to be honest with you, we should probably just stop that war between them and Ukraine and get the energy market running back up again. To be quite honest with you, none of these conflicts benefit us, not even supporting Ukraine with Russia, and definitely not us being here with Iran.
Concerns does this raise for you? What does this look like?
It's not just the package of potential shoulder-fired missiles, whether that's a good piece of intel or less assured. But what it ought to worry all of us is if China is going to line up alongside Iran to the degree of providing military-grade hardware, or even Brianna, components that go into it, that's extremely worrisome, because it gives Tehran a lifeline. It's the phone a friend concept. Tehran worked closely with Russia. If Beijing starts to step in alongside Russia, supporting Tehran, we'll have a bigger problem that could, final thought, bleed over into the Pacific as well.
What the president could do is what he might be uncomfortable doing, and that's asking for help. If you have those Asian allies that need the strait to be open, you have Europe partially dependent on Middle East oil. You have all the Gulf states.
Bro, they're all telling us to stop, though. It's like, so this whole, oh no, like we must call the alliance or whatever, like, or we must all assemble. And it's like, no, bro, that's not going to happen when they want us to stop the war. Bro, most of these countries believe that we're in an illegal war. Why would they want to join us in a war that they feel is illegal? So really think about that before you say it, my friend, because none of these countries are really going to be like tagging up to join us besides Israel. That's it. And Saudi Arabia, and really maybe the Gulf countries, because their assets are at stake. But these Asian countries and these European countries are looking at us going like, bro, we're not about to get involved in a war you popped off and risk our military assets and our servicemen as well. I mean, you got it. You started it. You got to crash out and finish it. And I can respect that position. I'm gonna be real with you.
It's at play here, as well as Israel, a major coalition to do two things: to pressure the Iranians diplomatically with one full-throated voice, but also to exact economic sanctions on the Iranians, because we know their pressure point, maybe not so much as their military, it's their economy. That has to happen. But Jim, I think ultimately, this, as General Gibson says, this is going to be a war of attrition. We're going to have to grind down their military, but they're not going to give in anytime soon.
Well, but Ambassador, there's another credibility question, too, because deals with this president, I think one can reasonably say, don't always hold up. Ask the Saudis about the nuclear deal. The president seems to be raising questions about his promise to allow Ukraine to build interceptors under license. Ask any U.S. trading partner about trade deals negotiated in the last months and several years. Why would Iran calculate rationally that if it negotiates with this president, that any deal will hold?
Well, I think General Gibson is right. The Iranians are going to wait us out. Mm-hmm. They think they're tougher and more resilient than we are, and they don't have midterm elections and public opinion to contend with. Nope. So I think that's a factor here. That's why I think, Jim, your question is
no, they got elections, but here's the thing, though: their president isn't the supreme power in the land; it's the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah, yeah, you're right. They don't like the Ayatollah, but guess what? The Ayatollah and the religious clerks pick all of the presidential candidates that the Iranian people actually vote for in the millions.
Good one. I don't think the Iranians are going to trust commitments made by Steve Witkoff or Jared Kushner or President Trump himself. It's why you need to internationalize this conflict a bit to get other countries that the Iranians do care about to come in with economic sanctions. The Saudis have this idea, just floated today, of a coalition to try to secure shipping channels in the Red Sea. The British and French have been talking for well more than a year about a coalition of countries that would come in to the HORMUZ eventually, if there is a permanent ceasefire or a durable one, to escort ships through the straits. So the U.S. simply cannot succeed on its own. It needs help from the allies.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be real with you. Our allies are looking at us like, bro, you guys are the strongest military in the world, the strongest Navy, all that good stuff, Air Force, all that good stuff. If you can't do it, no one can. Okay, that's how they're looking at us right now. You know what? I somewhat agree. I mean, we are the strongest military, so I mean, if we can't do it, then what makes you think that they can do it? Well, if they tag in with us, I don't think so. I don't think so. Besides, what else targets can they hit? I mean, they would literally have to join us on a boots on the ground operation to take out these underground military bases and underground missile silos and all that good stuff. So, I mean, what's the plan here? Because they can join us in strikes, but like I said, a lot of this stuff is underground, and that's what they're using to pretty much fire off these rockets still. So what are we going to do about that? Because trust me, if we can't reach them, they can't either. They don't got bunker busters. We do. And our bunker busters can barely reach these underground facilities. So what made you think that them coming along is going to do anything? They're just going to be sitting there wasting their munitions that they buy from us. I know. Imagine that.
President Trump is sending a message to Iran and their back proxies by teaming up with Saudi Arabia to strike militia groups over in Iraq after a string of attacks on American forces. But who are these groups? Let me give you an overview. First off, obviously, this is where the money comes from. This is the area in which they're located. You got about 10 Shiite groups that really came into prominence after we invaded, yes, but mostly after we pulled out during the Obama administration and left the void. In come these Iranian militias to actually to put down the push of ISIS, and they stayed. So about 10 groups, 50,000. Who are the biggest groups? Well, here's one of them, the Kataib Hezbollah. Yes, affiliated with Hezbollah. They got the most rockets. They seem to, if they were...
Well, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support, by the way. And if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, make sure to super chat it in, or you can go ahead and send a Venmo as well, guys. Appreciate the support. And like I said, do not forget to smash that like button. But all right, though, let's get right back into it.
If anybody was to hit Jordan, you would think this group is the group to actually do it because they're the most armed up. Then you have this group with Al-Haq, named after one of these guys. He was also arrested. He was jailed. He was let out. He forms a group. And this El-Khazali is trying to become part of the political process and soften his image, but being part of a militia is not helpful. We do now have an Iraqi leader that wants to be affiliated with us and keep these guys under control. They're going to have the armaments and the army to do exactly that because Iran backs them. Another reason why you want to diminish Iran's power, that's when these guys stop being funded. And then,
but I mean, here's the thing, though. This is going to pop off a civil war, though, because I mean, if we're saying that we're about to go against these guys because they got a leader now, a president that visited the White House. If we're saying that, yeah, we got a president on our side and they don't like that, then yeah, we're going to pop off a civil war in Iraq. But I mean, hey, at least we're not involved this time. But that's not a good thing, though. And be real with you. I mean, us not being involved is a good thing, but popping off a civil war in Iraq, I mean, that's kind of fucked up. And here's the thing: we're only doing it to try to weaken the proxies out there. You know, I mean, hey, look, I feel the strategy. I mean, I get the objective. I feel the objective: weaken their proxy. But the method we're using is a bit wild right now. It's like, okay, I get it. Like, why not just strike? Like, why not just us and Saudi just strike these guys? They can't really hit us back. They have no air force. They just got guns and drones. So, like, we don't really got to worry about these guys that much. I mean, we could just sit there and air campaign them. But doing this and pretty much saying that, oh, no, their government should disown them and all that good stuff. Yeah, we're about to get that president assassinated, possibly. God forbid, though.
Of course, Hezbollah stops being funded and Hamas gets diminished. They become weaker and hopefully less effective. And the Badr organization, named after an Ayatollah, was killed during Saddam's reign. This group was once affiliated with al-Sadr. They are somebody that's somewhat formidable. So having said all that and knowing that they had everything to do with Jordan and our base being rocketed in Jordan, where do we go from here? Let's bring in former CENTCOM Director of Intelligence, Lieutenant General Karen Gibson joins us now. Lieutenant General, we hit last night. We hit a series of targets, but there's no word yet on how effective these hits have been or how effective those 14 days of hits were.
That's right. When I look at what an adversary might do, the options that are available, I look at two things. One, what is their desire, their intent, their stated will, what they seek to accomplish, and then what is their capability to do that? And when you think back to Iran's current stated will and intent, which is to continue to control the Strait of Hormuz, to enable some kind of mechanism where they sustain that control, and they are doing that through these drone and missile strikes against commercial shipping. Our many strikes have not eliminated that capacity. And frankly, although we've degraded it significantly, it's been tactically significant, truly eliminating it totally is darn near impossible. It's an incredibly high bar. I think that's what Admiral Cooper was saying. And then the second side, you know, what is their desired will and intent? These strikes that CENTCOM has conducted very proficiently, there's no evidence that they've done anything to move the needle on the IRGC and the Iranian Islamic Republic's desire to control the strait. So,
I mean, yeah, because here's the thing. Our CIA already came in and said, like, look, Trump, most likely this bombing campaign is not going to make the Iranians surrender. So what are we going to do? Because apparently you can blow up their power plants and bridge, and apparently they're still going to be like, no, we're not surrendering. We're still going to fire off whatever missiles and drones we can. And all you got to do is be able to just fire off 1 or 2 missiles into the strait to control it. It's very easy to lock down, very hard to open up. I mean, that's what we're realizing now.
So both capability and intent still not entirely changed.
And let's take a look at the map, the Strait of Hormuz and the Bab el-Mandab Strait, which is basically the Red Sea. The Houthis are creating havoc there, which has forced us to use the Suez Canal, which I understand is not really able to take the huge tankers. And then the Strait of Hormuz, people are making pipelines rapidly to go around it. But I hear the frustration in your voice. But evidently, Admiral Cooper does have a plan to do maximum damage on the people closing these straits, and that's the IRGC. With the IDF, are you convinced that we can make the impression to truly cut their legs out substantially if we could factor in the IDF and who knows what Gulf states who are willing to take action too, without going with ground troops?
Well,
so the goal is to pretty much dogpile on Iran, pretty much. I mean, okay. Like I said, we're putting the entire Middle East at risk with this one. I mean, they better not be able to fire back, or because let's be real, we know where they're going to fire back at. Key infrastructure throughout the Gulf. So if we're going to do this, we better make sure Iran cannot fire back whatsoever. They can't get no drones off or anything. Or we are going to get, or I'm be real with you, the Middle East is going to be cooked if we're hitting, like, power plants and bridges.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. I mean, I think certainly this is probably what we will try, and we will, again, degrade the IRGC. But earlier in the program, you talked about the split between the political entity, more moderates who might be willing to reach some kind of accommodation, and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps who are not. Let's be clear. It's the security state that is actually running Iran right now. Without the IRGC, the political arm would be nothing. Let's remember some 85–90% of Iranians want a change to the government.
Actually, that's not true. Actually, the IRGC is controlled by the Ayatollah, and the Ayatollah only has a call in there, in who gets to pretty much run for president. Him and the religious clerics pick that. So to pretty much sit there and say that, oh no, the Iranian people don't get no say, no nothing, or the IRGC is controlling everything. Well, I'll be real with you. Now they are, since this war popped off, it's under military control, as all countries fall under when they're being struck or they're engaged. When they're being struck. But here with the IRGC, no, their government is actually separate from the people. The IRGC doesn't really engage in the affairs of the government. It only engages in like social affairs with the people and carry out the will of the Ayatollah. And I mean, believe it or not, even the Ayatollah only gets one vote in these presidential elections. But I mean, hey, he had a hand in picking out all of the candidates. So it's somewhat of a democracy, but not really. Not really. I mean, they got an election.
Without the security state to prop them up, the political entity would not exist. And anyone who doubts the commitment.
Like I said, if you took out the IRGC, it's separate from the government. They would still have their president, their parliament, all that good stuff would still be there. Unless, we were going to go ahead and take out those politicians or those religious clerics as well.
Of the IRGC to the survival of the state as it is need only look back to January when they willingly gunned down tens of thousands of their own citizens on, camera for the world to see. That's how committed they are. So it will take a lot to convince or change the minds of the men leading Iran who see this as an existential fight for the survival of their state.
Right.
At least you didn't say, oh, the 40, 50,000. No, hundreds of thousands. No, that's true, though. I just hate when people try to sit there and like over exaggerate the numbers. Like, guys, it's about 3,000 to 7,000 people that died in that protest, or that protest that tried to turn into a revolution. About 3,000 to 7,000. Those are the only verified numbers we got. Anybody who's saying that 30, 40, 50, 60,000, you're running off propaganda, my friend.
I just don't think it's worth talking to anybody but the IRGC. There's no sense of talking to the foreign minister, the prime minister, the president. They have no power. And I don't care. I don't believe there are any good guys we should be talking to. We just got to talk to the guys with the guns, who, by the way, keep hanging those protesters. They hung 2 more yesterday.
That is true.
Thanks so much, Lieutenant General. We'll look forward to seeing.
No, that is true. They locked up a lot of people for ties to the Mossad because, let's be real. The Mossad is who popped this off. The Mossad is who pretty much gave these people their weapons and knives as well. Because, guys, there were videos of police officers literally being like chopped up in pieces. It was absolutely insane. and they executed the young man that did that as well. Fox News showed him as an innocent wrestler, but no, they actually had this kid on camera chopping up a policeman. So I'm just like, yeah, that's going to get you.
What Admiral Cooper comes up with, and hopefully he gets in the room to pitch the president directly and doesn't have to go through somebody else, because that's been the problem in the past. Appreciate it. Be sure to like.
All right, now let's get into some international